Hello and welcome to another episode of the Wool Revolution podcast. My name is Helena, and today I'm recording in a very dark setting. It is actually midday, even though it's hard to believe. I have the window literally like not even 1 meter from where I'm sitting, just to get as much light in here as possible. But now I see it started raining. It's November, so the darkest month basically. November and December are very dark here in Sweden. So this is just how it's gonna be from now on for a few months until the light gets back. But I think it's okay. It looks okay in my little screen over there. Today I'm wearing my slipover. It's quite short. It's like a cropped version. It doesn't have any buttons, which is not intentional. I have made 3 buttonholes, as you can see, so I just need to buy buttons really, but I haven't done that, and I quite like the way it looks, like this opened up. So no rush, but I have actually more than one garment that should have buttons on, but I haven't gotten around to it. I don't know, I find it really hard to buy buttons for some reason. But I knit this in Rauma lammull, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I used 2 strands held together. I'll show you a bit of the... It looks... The color is like a pink, dusty pink, I'd say, and the yarn is quite thin, which is why I used 2 strands. I mean, I could knit it with just 1 strand if I wanted to, but I had enough of it to knit with 2 strands, and yeah, it's just a quicker knit that way. I don't remember which needle size I used, but I would guess like 4mm or something like that. I think the meterage for this yarn is like over 200 meters per 50 gram. So like light fingering maybe. I didn't follow a pattern. I was very inspired by a slipover or like a vest I saw from Vitre Designs, I think, is what she's called. You probably know of her. I'll put a picture here just to show you. She has a pattern that's like a bulky slipover basically, and I thought it was really cute, so I decided to do something similar for myself. Basically, it's like a brioche. Or like a half brioche, half fisherman's rib stitch, and nothing complicated really. I started from the top here, and knitted the back piece first, and then I knitted the 2 front pieces and then joined in the round. Yeah, and I picked up for the neckline and the button band and armholes when I was done with the main piece. Yeah, I think now, like when I knit this a couple of years ago, I was very into cropped garments, and to some extent I do still wear cropped clothing, but I'm definitely feeling the urge to knit longer garments right now. So I haven't used this a lot this season. It's only November, so I can definitely use this in the spring as well, or like late winter. It's a bit cold, I think, to wear it like this with just a t-shirt underneath, now that we enter the winter months, but definitely a spring piece, especially considering the color as well. So very nice, and the yarn is so beautiful. This is the first and only time actually I've knitted with Rauma Lamul, but definitely a positive experience. It's very soft, and yeah, I would love to knit something more in it, and maybe see if I can do something with it using only one strand, or like pairing one strand with mohair would probably be very nice. Yeah. So I have finished one project since last time, but I don't have it here with me, so I'm just gonna have to upload pictures here to the side. It is the baby blanket I was working on last time I recorded. It has been received by the recipients, and I actually found out this morning that their baby has arrived to the world. So that was very, very lovely news, and hopefully the baby will enjoy the little blanket I made. So it was a granny square blanket basically, or it's called the sunflower bloom blanket, I think. A very beautiful pattern, I'd say, and I made it basically according to pattern, except for two things. One, I made a mistake, so I'll see if I can like put a zoomed in picture here to show you the mistake. You can probably see in the corner that it's, I'm looking at the picture on my phone at the same time, that's why I'm looking down. In the corners you can see it's like thinner, basically, not as much fabric as the rest, like the corners of the squares. And the reason is that I missed like how many, what's it called, like double crochet, half crochet. I'm not very good at the crochet lingo, but I accidentally did too few. But the good news is I made the same mistake for every square, so you can't really notice. And at first I thought it looked really bad, but now it's quite nice. Like it's a detail. It's like a detail basically, which is quite nice. The other thing I modified was the border, just because I didn't really have time to crochet the full border. I think I was supposed to do some more rounds, but I just skipped that, which, you know, you can't really tell that either, and the border looks good to me. The yarn I used was a Järbo yarn, a Swedish brand, and it's a superwash wool quality. It's called Järbo Astrid, and I bought it for the purpose of knitting this blanket, and I wanted a blanket that's easily washable because it's a baby blanket. And yeah, it was a nice yarn. Like it felt like any other superwash wool yarn, maybe not something I'd pick for myself, for like a sweater or something for myself, but definitely fits the purpose, I'd say. We'll see if it holds up. If it holds up well, I guess I'll have to ask them in a couple of years to see what it will look like then. I used the crochet hook I used was like a 4.5 or 5 millimeter hook. I only have like 2 crochet hooks, and I call them the big hook and the small hook. The small hook is like 2.5 or 3 millimeters, and the big is like yeah, around 5mm or something like that. So yeah, so those hooks work well for big crochet projects that I do right now. Like, I'm not a very advanced crocheter, so I usually stick to knitting. But for blankets, it's really nice to crochet, I think. Yeah, so a baby boy born today has gotten the blanket. I wish it could have been a bit larger. Like, it's a baby blanket, so of course it can be quite small, but if I had had more time and, to be honest, like commitment, I maybe would have made it a bit larger, but yeah, it's okay. It can be more like a snuttefilt, like we call it in Sweden, and that's also a nice thing to have as a baby. Yeah, let's get into the other projects that I am working on. I am feeling very inspired at the moment. I have lots of plans and lots of thoughts about what to knit. I'm actually gonna introduce like a new segment in this podcast. I'll put it in the end, and it's sort of on my mind segment, which basically means that I'll show you pictures that I've saved on my Instagram account, which shows kind of what I'm eager to knit, or like things that inspire me, and maybe it can inspire you as well. So I thought that would be a fun little segment, but I'll put that in the end when we're done with my knitting. But I'm feeling inspired. I'm thinking about Christmas knits and who to knit for this Christmas. To be honest, like, usually I don't really knit for my immediate family. My mom knits as well, so she has sort of taken over knitting for my brother's children. So I don't really do that anymore. And my brothers are not very knit-worthy, I think. I don't think they deserve something knitted from me. And yeah, it would be my dad, maybe. I could knit something for him as a Christmas gift. He would probably appreciate that. And my partner's family, I have knitted socks to them before. I knit them matching socks. It wasn't last Christmas. No, it was 2 years ago. And I know they really appreciated that. So I'm thinking about knitting something for them as well. So that would be my partner's parents and my partner's brother and his wife. So 4 people. And I've been looking at like knitting hats, maybe, like a cowl or neck warmer, maybe mittens. I don't know, just like small things that are quick to knit. But I haven't picked out yarn and stuff like that yet, so that will probably be in my next episode. But I think that's a good amount for 4 pieces to knit as Christmas gifts. I don't have time for more than that. I don't even know if I have time for those 4 pieces. We'll see. But first of all, I'm gonna talk about my slipover. And I did show you in my last episode. Wait, I'm just gonna grab it. Okay, I did show you in my last episode the slipover that I knit and designed and thinking of writing up as a pattern. And now I have started a new version just to see, like, because for the first version I talked about some not fit issues, but like things I probably would have done differently. It's very boxy, for example, so for this second version I'm gonna try to make it a bit more fitted, just a little bit. And also I want to make sure that I write up the pattern now as I knit. It's just easier that way to remember what I'm doing. And I wanted to try a different like color story. So the first one I made used 7 colors, which is also what I recommend in the pattern, I think. What I'm also going to recommend is that you use 4 bright colors and 3 dark colors, or 4 dark colors and 3 bright colors. And I'll also explain like how you can place the colors in what order. Yeah, hard to explain, but I'm hoping I can attach like an Excel sheet to the pattern so that you can easily fill out basically all the squares with the colors that you choose, so that you get the same color story as the samples, in case that's something you like to do. So I want 2 different samples, one that uses 4 bright and 3 dark colors, and one that uses 4 dark and 3 bright colors, just to see how they compare. So at first I'm going to show you what I have, because now I've been talking so much without showing any knitting. This is what it looks like. It looks very nice now that the light from the window is, yeah, it's definitely, looks nice. So this is obviously the darker version, let's say, and I had some problems choosing colors for this. This is the 3rd version I'm making, so the first 2 I ripped back. The first version, I'll see if I have pictures of the previous versions, but the first version I only used cool colors, because I thought like the first version was so warm, like a lot of beige and brown and yellow. So I thought I'd make a cooler version just to show some variety. So I only picked like these blue, dark blue and bright blue, and I picked grays, and yeah, only cool colors, and it didn't feel right. Yeah, I don't know if it's just like me always feeling uncomfortable when it comes to those cooler colors, or if it just didn't look good, but I ripped it back. Then I picked similar colors to this. I still had the brown as a base color, but I had more like a red, a pink. Yeah, I think I mixed, you'll see it here, I mixed a lot of, like too many colors. And that's also something I'm gonna recommend in this pattern. Like when you knit with 7 colors, you only need maybe a couple of them to be popping. The rest, I think, should be very neutral. So what I did with this version, I picked this light blue, and it's a very popping color, and I picked, it's not really a popping color, I changed my mind in the last minute. This was supposed to be like a yellow, I think I have it in here actually. Yeah, I thought about using this mustard color here. Maybe actually it's something I'd still consider. I don't know. I'm gonna finish this part and see what it looks like. But really, this is like a powder pink, so it doesn't really pop. It's really only the light blue that's like a very popping color, and that's enough. You can still feel like this is a very colorful garment, and that's definitely a lesson, because other than the blue, light blue and dark blue, I only have like white, 2 different shades of brown. It's quite hard to see, but you can see it here. Here's a darker brown and a little bit more like reddish brown, which is the base color. Yeah, and beige and white. Now I dropped some stitches here. So, and I definitely love the blue and brown combination. Yes, I very much enjoy that. So now I'm actually happy. I think this is, I'm not gonna rip this back. I'm gonna continue. It was a bit, it's always a bit like heartbreaking to rip back, especially when you come so far. The second version I had made almost like up to here or something when I ripped it back. So that's a bit annoying. But this one I'm gonna continue with. And also another reason why I wanted to knit another sample is that I'd want to use the same yarn for all the different colors. So the first version I just picked random fingering weight yarns that I had, and they were like, some of them were thicker, a little bit thicker than others, and some were more tightly spun than others. So it's hard to like write a pattern from using those kind of yarns, because you don't really know exactly how much you need for the different colors, etc. So for this one I'm only using Rauma Finull, which is the best yarn in this world. It's so lovely to knit with. It's been so much fun, like the first row of colorwork knitting, because I haven't knit colorwork like all summer, and basically not that much in the spring, so I had like an urge to knit colorwork, and like the first row I just felt at home and at peace. I love knitting with this yarn, and I love knitting colorwork with this yarn. So even though it's tough to rip back, it's actually like I don't even think about it anymore, because it's been such a joy to knit. Yeah, so far I've only, like, as you can tell, it's knit from the bottom up, and so far I haven't come that far, and it's not very complicated so far. So for the pattern, like, this is not a lot of information in the pattern so far. But I've made some, obviously I put some thought into the color choosing process, and just because I love color so much, I love picking colors, I love choosing color combinations, so I really want to give some guidance on that in the pattern. Not that I am an expert or anything, but I know that there are people who doesn't work with colors that much and can feel a bit lost. Yeah, just some guidance, especially if you see the samples and feel like you want to knit something similar, then I can give guidance on how the color story is constructed, essentially. So I'm gonna continue working on this, and actually I have a deadline, or sort of a deadline, to finish this in a month from now, or like 3 weeks from now actually, so I need to keep going. And the deadline is that at my workplace actually, they are having like an art gallery, essentially, that like everyone that works at my workplace can bring stuff that they have made. It can also be like music or a dance, or something that you have baked, or anything creative really. And yeah, it's gonna be on display for 3 weeks. Well, at first we have like an opening night kind of thing, and then 3 weeks after it's gonna be on display at work. So I'm gonna participate with my sock designs and this slipover. And of course I do have my first sample, so I can always use that, but it would be nice to have 2 samples to show. So hopefully I'll finish this in time. I'll keep you updated, and in the next episode hopefully I can have some pictures to show from the art gallery. We'll see. I don't know if art gallery is the right word, but let's call it that. Is there anything else I need to say about this? I don't think so. I'll definitely have a reason to return to this in the next episode. And yeah, if someone would like to test knit, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. And I don't know, like my socks, I used to do like a test knit call on Ravelry. They have these like forums for when you need someone to test knit. So I might do that as well, but if someone is watching this YouTube channel and want to test knit, like, of course you can just reach out. I talked in the last episode, I think, about sizing and how I struggled a little bit to figure out sizes and like how to make the shaping work for different sizes. And I still struggle a little bit with that. Also, because it's a slipover, I find it hard to understand what is the bust circumference, because you don't really have natural, because it's open here, like it's hard to see what's the natural bust measurement for the finished garment. And I actually looked at a petite knit slipover pattern that I have bought, and I think I realized that she sort of the bust measurement and the waist measurement is sort of the same, or like she uses them interchangeably for the slipover. So maybe I can just do that. I don't know. I guess that should be fine, like as long as you know what's the, because obviously the waist measurement is easier to measure on a slipover. And I guess if you know the waist measurement and the amount of positive ease, then you can easily like understand how it's gonna fit on around your chest as well. I don't know. I'll have to think about that a little bit more. Maybe it doesn't have to be that. I don't know. I'm very scared to make the sizes like, yeah, that they're not gonna fit or anything. I don't know. Let's not talk about it anymore. Next up, I don't have project bags like all the other cool kids. I only use baskets. So in this basket I have the slipover I'm making for my partner. I have made some progress on it. Let's see if I'm gonna be able to show it. It's upside down. That's great. Now, it's too big for the frame. Yeah, you can see the idea, and you can also see that I'm working on the armholes. They look a little bit small. I had to redo it once because it was very small. But maybe it's still a little bit too small. I guess I'm gonna finish it and try it on him and see what it looks like. And the collar, I am going to sew it down, so I guess a more accurate picture would be something like this. So a small collar like that. And I'm gonna add some more length. I've just taken a pause here to finish the armholes, and then I'm just gonna keep on going. I have 2.5 skeins left, which should be enough. It's gonna have to be enough. It's not like it's not gonna be cropped on him. That's for sure. And the yarn I'm using is Peer Gynt in a lovely, like, dark grey color. I don't know what it's called, but the color code is 1088. And this is the first time I'm using Peer Gynt, actually. Or Per Gynt, I guess. but I really like it. It feels like a workhorse yarn. Like it can take some punches, you know. But very nice, like sturdy woolen yarn. So definitely a yarn that I can see myself using more. And I've come to realize, like, there are so many Norwegian yarns that I still haven't tried, and Norway is actually superior to Sweden when it comes to yarn. Yes, I said it, but that's just the case. I think Norway has a better tradition of taking care of their wool. I mean, we have sheep in Sweden too, but the way I have understood it is that we tend to throw away a lot more wool than they do in Norway. So we don't have as much Swedish yarns, and yeah, that's a shame. And also we don't have like the entire production chain. It's not very common that everything happens in Sweden. Like in Norway, I think they have a lot more like bigger mills and stuff like that, where they do every part of the production chain, whereas in Sweden, at least for the bigger brands, like even if they have Swedish wool, they still ship it abroad to spin it, for example. So yeah, we are getting better at taking care of the wool, but still some work to do when it comes to the entire wool industry, I suppose. But for now, I'd say there are a lot of Norwegian yarns that I want to try, and especially the Rauma yarns. Like they're not very pricey. They are good quality, those that I've tried so far. They are woolly wools. They are not very treated. Of course some are, but many of them are not treated. And yeah, good yarns. And I have actually bought some yarn that I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show it when I actually knit something with it. I've bought some Rauma Fivel, for example, which is a quite new yarn actually. I'm very eager to try that, so you'll see it in future episodes for sure. Yeah, this slipover, I struggled with this a little bit. I have not really used a pattern for it, so, and I also didn't measure my partner before I started, which is ridiculous. Why didn't I, like, how could I miss that step? So I don't know, I just used my feeling or something. I don't know, which is of course a bad thing to do, because then you make mistakes, and it turned out too big the first time around, and I think also the second time around especially. I struggled with the increases, so I cut on up here and then I increased for the armhole, and I increased too much, so I definitely had too many stitches for the body. And I tried it on him several times, and yeah, I had to restart. And then when I re-knit the whole increase part, I actually measured him, and then I could easily calculate how many stitches I needed to get to for the body, which is like not a hard thing to do, so I don't know why I didn't do it the first time around. You live and you learn. But yeah, there's nothing special about this really, just classic stockinette stitch. It's a nice knit to have, like when I'm watching TV or something. And I think he's gonna be very happy to receive it, and he's also gonna be happy that I'm not trying it on him all the time. Maybe something he could wear for Christmas, and I can wear my vest, my slipover as well. It's not really matching, but still, 2 slipovers, that's matching in some way. Yeah, I'm using a smaller needle for the the armholes, 3.5mm, and for the rest I'm using 4mm needles. Yeah, hopefully a finished project in the next episode. Next project is in a really nice project basket, and I received this actually from my partner's mother, my mother-in-law, I guess. We're not married, but yeah. And she bought this in like a second-hand shop for like a few years ago. It has these like feet, so it can stand on the floor, and a very nice basket like this, and a nice handle. It's quite big, but really nice to like move around and just put on the floor. So, and oh right, in here it has like these little pockets, so it's definitely been made for crafting, I'd say. And yeah, you can tell that it's been around for several years. So that was really kind of her to give it to me, and also a reason why I feel like it would be nice to actually knit something for her, sort of as a thank you. But I don't have the Christmas gift knits in here right now, because in here I'm working on a hönsestrikk project. So before I started my second sample of the slipover, which actually I forgot to mention, I'm thinking of calling it the Vissla slipover. Vissla means whistle in Swedish, because for my sock designs I've had a theme, so they're all named after different places in Stockholm, and or like different areas in Stockholm. So I thought I needed a new theme for the garment designs. I mean, so far there's only one, but in case there will be more. So I thought about like verbs, essentially. Nice fitting verbs that matches the garment. So right now it's the Vissla slipover, but we'll see. Maybe that will change. Anyway, before I started my second sample of that, I had ordered some yarn, and I was waiting for the yarn to get here, but I was craving colorwork knitting. So I started a hönsestrikk project in the meantime. And I've used this book. I've talked about this book before, Hönsestrikk Forever. It's a Swedish book. I don't know if it's translated, maybe. Check it out. And this is hönsestrikk, you can see on the pictures. It's basically a really playful way to knit colorwork. And the book includes some patterns and a lot of charts. So the patterns, you can knit, say, a pattern for a sweater, but then you can insert the colorwork chart that you find pretty or that you want to include. So it's very playful in that way. So I just like cast on a project just to have some colorwork knitting. And I decided on a children's sweater. Like I picked a sweater pattern, and then I picked the smallest size just to have something that's quick to knit. It doesn't really have a intended recipient, but yeah, there are so many babies around me now anyway, so there will most likely be someone I can give it to. It has been a little bit neglected ever since I got the yarn and started knitting on the second sample, but I still pick it up from time to time, and this is what I have so far. So as you can see, it's a children's sweater. It's quite small. I think I picked the size like 2 years old size. And I started with a corrugated rib, and then I made these beautiful foxes. It looks like foxes in like a starry night. And now I'm knitting on some kind of border situation. And the colors, maybe I can show all the colors that are, yeah, you can sort of get the picture. So a lot of greens and pink, purple, yeah, a whole amount of different colors. And that's also something, that's also a reason I wanted to knit a children's garment, because I feel like you can be way more playful when you're knitting for children. I mean, I don't think I would wear something like this like at work. And I mean, I am very comfortable wearing colors, so, but this is a little bit too extreme. But that's also what makes it so fun to knit, because like there are no rules. You can't really go wrong with this, I'd say. So very playful, very fun. It's quick because it's small. And I just pick the colorwork charts as I go, and I pick the colors as I go as well. So no planning, no nothing, just knitting, knitting, knitting. And the yarns are just random fingering weight yarns. There are some beautiful yarns in here. This one, for example, is a bit different than the others. It has a bit more of a halo. Like it could almost be like alpaca blend or something. I don't know, it's a lot softer than the other yarns anyway. We have some finull as well. These are Rauma finull. This pink, I'm absolutely loving this pink. It's like the perfect bubblegum pink. It looks a bit cool in the camera. In reality, it's a lot more like, yeah, it doesn't look right at all. It's a lot more colorful in real life. It looks a bit bland in the camera. Love this color. Yeah, so we'll see what progress I make on this. This is just my fun knitting project. So no rush to finish it, really. It's raining quite hard now outside. I don't know if you can hear it, but maybe it gives a cozy vibe if you can hear it. Then I only have one more project, and I was kind of debating whether to show it to you or not, because I don't know if I'm gonna continue working on it actually. I'll show you what I have. This is what I have so far. Yeah, it's basically a square, soon to be a square. The color looks really nice. It's like a orange, terracotta, brown, red, what do you call this? Terracotta, I guess. And the yarn is actually a weaving yarn. I don't know if I've talked about this in the podcast, but as a Christmas gift, I think the first Christmas that I celebrated with my partner, he gave me a big paper bag full of these yarns, and like he had bought them secondhand from like an old lady, and he had no idea what it was, or like, yeah, he thought I could use this for knitting. It was a very sweet gesture, but it's hard to knit with this because it's super thin. Obviously it's intended for weaving. So I've struggled to, like, I didn't want to give it up or anything because it was a nice gift, but I also didn't want it to just go to waste or like just like take up a lot of space and never be used. So yeah, I thought about what to make with it. And I have an idea, and that is in our staircase there is really large wall. So the wall, you can see the wall from this floor, and it goes all the way down to the bottom floor. And when we moved in, like the previous owner had a big painting there. I know that some of my neighbors have like a wallpaper on that wall. You kind of need something big to be able to see it properly. So right now it's just like a white boring wall. So I had an idea to make like a wall, what's it called? Väggbonad in Swedish. Basically a knitted, yeah, kind of like a rug, but you hang it up instead of having it on the floor, and it's not as thick as a rug. That's not a good explanation. Something that I've knitted and put it up on the wall, basically. So I thought about making these like squares, and just like knit them together. Maybe now this is a garter stitch square, but maybe I could make other types of squares, like other types of textures, other types of colors I could use, because now I'm knitting with 4 strands at the same time. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see, but yeah, that's just to make it really like as thick as possible. I'm using 8mm needles, so quite large needles. So it's a quick project, really. But of course, because I'm gonna need so many, because I want it to be very, very big, it's gonna take time. And it's so annoying to knit, because obviously the yarn are in these like cones and 4 strands of them, so I need to like pull all the time, and yeah, it's not very enjoyable to knit. Like obviously I couldn't even finish the first the first square. So we'll see if I continue this, or yeah. Okay, that was all for knitting. Now on to my final segment that I talked about, where I'm just going to talk a little bit about what's been on my mind lately. Hopefully that can inspire you in the same way as it has been inspiring me. So for this segment I'm gonna sit a little bit like casually here to the side, so that I can show you the pictures here. And now actually, now that we're looking at this anyway, I can talk a little bit about my plans for my knitting corner. I can show you right now. This is the corner. It's empty, as you can see. There are a lot of messy cords down there that I'm gonna deal with this weekend. My plan is to put an armchair in the corner. I have actually found a lovely armchair on Blocket, which is our like secondhand buy and sell stuff website, the biggest one in Sweden, and I'm hoping I can pick it up this weekend. It's in like a velvet fabric, which normally isn't really my thing, but it's like blood red, and I think that would look so cool to this very sweet pink wall color. So we'll see if I'll get it. It's always so hard, like the competition is really tough when it comes to buying stuff secondhand, which is I mean good in a way, but also bad when you really want something. And this, right now I have these two, like this shelf, the dark brown shelf is gonna be my yarn shelf for now. It doesn't fit a lot of yarn, but some of it. And the drawers next to it is for clothing, so no yarn in there. But yeah, we're just gonna have to start with that. And I have my desk here, of course. But anyway, we're not gonna talk about that now. Let me check my Instagram account to see what I have saved. Yeah, so first of all, I'm gonna show you some versions of a pattern that's called Marit. Yeah, the Marit cardigan. And it's a beautiful pattern. I think it was originally published in Lane magazine, but you can buy it solo now. It's beautiful. I'm just gonna like have the pictures rolling here on the side. I have actually bought yarn for it. I bought Rauma finull, and my plan is to make, because the versions that I've enjoyed the most are the ones that are light, like white or light beige or light gray. So I bought like a white beige base color, and then I think for contrast colors I'm gonna use a pink and a green. And the green is Rauma finull, but the pink is not. The pink is a Hillesvåg Sölje yarn. That's the plan for now. It might change in the future when I actually get around to knit it. I haven't bought the pattern yet either, but it's so stunning. And I feel like definitely with the, when you have the white as a base color and you have the white collar, etc., it really looks like a jacket, like a wintry jacket, and I think that will look very cute. I also saw in my Instagram feed a pattern for half mittens, and I have knitted a few half mittens. It's a great piece of accessory, especially for me. I have very cold hands and I sit a lot in front of the computer, so it's a great item really to have. So I found this pattern. I don't know if it has a name yet. It's Glimmer Knits on Instagram who is writing up the pattern. I think it's in testing right now. They are knitted in Rauma finull, which is a yarn that I love, as you know, and I have some Rauma finull in my stash. And it's a very basic pattern really, but there's just something about it that looks so nice. I don't know if they almost look felted, but I don't think they are, but I don't know, there's something about the stitch, about the texture that I really enjoy. Maybe this actually could be a good Christmas gift knit, depending on when the pattern is released. I'm not sure actually, but it should be released. It seems like it should be released in December at least. So hopefully. I've also been very excited to see the new pattern from the Weststrand sisters. It's called Vivica, and it's both Vivica cardigan and a Vivica vest. I think that you get both patterns like in the same purchase, but I'm not sure. And what I really like, the first thing I loved about this was the sleeves. I just love these like very I was gonna say masculine, but that's not the right word. Like they're just very like very defined. They feel more boxy and almost as if they are like too big for the cardigan, if you get what I mean. And I kind of like that. It's a bit like cocky sleeves, and something I haven't seen before actually. And of course, like the main thing about this is the beautiful cables and how they sort of sculpture the back is very lovely. So yeah, I was kind of inspired by this, and I was also inspired by this version because the yarn is a yarn that I have been very eager to try. You know, speaking of how I was bashing Swedish yarn before, this is actually a Swedish yarn that is produced completely in Sweden. It's from Filtmakeriet, and they have a mill that you can go and visit, or like they have a shop there, but it is a few hours from where I live. It is possible to order online, but the shipping is quite expensive, so if I do order online, I'm gonna have to think about like yeah, making sure that I get what I want. But the yarn that she has used for this version is a tweed yarn. Let me see exactly what it's called. Yeah, Filtmakeriets tweed garn. And I know Filtmakeriet also has like unspun yarns, which is something I want to try. And they have like just ordinary fin ull yarn, essentially. Yeah, so that's like two inspirations in one, I guess. Both the yarn and the pattern. And finally, just to wrap this up, I also saw in my feed a pattern that is actually knitted in Raumafivel, which is the yarn that I have purchased. And this pattern is called Haraboji cardigan from Knit. My god, I don't know how to pronounce it. But she has a lot of beautiful patterns and a lot of like unique patterns, I'd say, like some details that I haven't seen before. So this Haraboji cardigan is, I think, also in testing right now, or if it has just been released maybe. And the only thing is, like with my Raumafivel yarn that I bought, I don't think I want to knit a cardigan. I want to knit a sweater because I feel like I have a lot of cardigan plans right now, so I need to have sweater plans, and I need to have more sweaters as well. But maybe it's possible to like maybe it's possible to like modify it a little bit to make it into a sweater. We'll have to see. And she has a lot of other really nice patterns. For example, Jeju sweater is a very nice colorwork sweater. I haven't tried any of her patterns, so I can't really say if they are good or not. But from what I see in the pictures, it looks nice. Yeah, I think that's everything for today. I have been talking for a while now. I need to actually get back to work because it's Friday and I'm working from home, and this has been my lunch break. This weekend I'm looking forward to a lot of knitting. I don't really have any plans, so I'm only gonna knit and clean in here, and hopefully I can buy some stuff for the house, like an armchair, a rug. I need a rug in this room as well. Yes. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.